chat feature on this?
Yes.
Okay, can I ask for, I don't see the chat yet, if I can have a resident call the meeting to order officially, because this is a member meeting. So I'll ask for any member. It could be a board member because technically it's just not a board meeting. Sorry about that. I think I just muted you. There you go.
Okay.
Anybody want to make a motion?
I'll call. Amy Steiger called the meeting to order.
Okay, perfect. We want to certify a quorum, so I do have to refer to Roy on this one. Roy, do we have a quorum of the membership to have a meeting tonight?
Yes, we do.
What's the number that you have?
We have 340.
Excellent. So yes, based on your documents, you do have a quorum of your membership to continue. Proof of notice of mailing. So we have an affidavit that we can share. If anybody needs to see it, we can have it available at the office. But we do affidavits on our membership mailings or date-sensitive mailings that are required by law. So we did mail this out at least 14 days in compliance with the state statute. So everyone's aware that we're having both the special member meeting and a board of director meeting, which will follow this. So that is available for everyone. And really, there's one item on this agenda, and it's to vote on the reserves for full or partial funding of the reserves. So what I will do is ask both Roy, because you probably have the data, what the final vote count was, and see if we either have full funding of reserves or partial funding of reserves.
Yes, we tallied up all the ballots. I believe, is the Ways and Means Committee going to present the budget first, or
yes.
shall I? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, I apologize.
That's
so
all right.
Absolutely continue, and then we'll go with the vote. I apologize, guys.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the presentation of the budget will be done by Christine Hudak and Dan Gassert. Christine, if you could proceed.
Thank you. Welcome to the presentation of our 2021 budget. My name is Christine Hudak, and I am the chairperson of the Ways and Means Committee. This is a neutral, fact-based presentation. Please bear with me till the end, and I will address things at different points during my presentation. I will now disable my camera just to focus on the two displays I'm working with, and thank you then for feeding the slides into this virtual meeting. Dan, is Dan muted? I don't know.
He's trying to get back in. I think he got bumped. There he comes. Give us 1 second. Actually,
I don't know what I have no idea what happened. I just lost everybody.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I think everyone's muted too. Something that was strange. So give us 1 second. Sorry, guys.
Hey, Don.
Don. Roy is muted too. Well, he might have muted himself, it looks like.
I'm unmuted now.
Okay. I think we're getting back up and running, guys. Sorry about that.
Is the budget 2021 screen up?
Yes,
Yes.
it is. Next screen, please. Next slide. Thank you. A brief reminder and information for new Lexingtonians about the structure of Lexington Club. In total, we have 434 homes. There are 140 condos and 294 villas. The Community Association Board, commonly referred to as CAB, is responsible for all aspects of the entire community. By law, condos have their own corporation and board of directors who deal with condo-specific topics. Villa owners do not have their own board of directors, Therefore, the Community Association Board assumes responsibility for the villa's business and problems. This is the structure and the guideline for our budget. Shared, common expenditures like clubhouse, grounds, pool, insurance, etc. I will detail in a minute. Condo-only expenditures are determined by the condo board only. The condo board creates the condo budget, determines condo reserves, and decides about condo special assessments, etc. Villa-only expenditures are monitored and budgeted by the Community Association Board. This format makes expenditures transparent, monies can be tracked more precisely, and administration and bookkeeping are streamlined. Allow me to address possible misconceptions or questions concerning the Ways and Means Committee. What is the role? What is the scope of work? Ways and Means functions as an advisor to the Board of Directors and is specifically tasked by the Board of Directors. I am leading the Ways and Means Committee since 2016 and had the pleasure working with different members joining this committee. I experienced different management companies, several property managers, a number of board presidents, treasurers, and a diverse group of directors, always communicating well and producing good work. Some presidents in the past engaged the Ways and Means Committee with more, some with less tasks, not maximizing the full potential available. This is the framework. The ultimate responsibility lies in the hands of the Association Board. The Board of Directors tasked the Ways and Means Committee to create the 2021 budget. As I pointed out, some presidents engaged the Ways and Means Committee with more, some with less tasks. Based on our education, our knowledge, and experience, we are perfectly capable to successfully work on requests for proposals, reviewing contracts, and offering input for contract renegotiations. We have proven to give a valuable input and by that saving money in the past when we were fully included in the process. Having said that, we worked diligently many hours behind the scenes. The budget work for 2021 was an ongoing effort, built upon insights and analysis of previous years, current year spending, on forecasts provided by Castle, and relying on their updated and/or renegotiated contract numbers respectively. We were reviewing financial statements, validating and analyzing financial data, reviewing general ledgers for accuracy, reclassifying pointing out over budget spending, resolving audit deficiencies, and establishing financial processes. Next slide, please. Thank you. This shows the summary of our 2021 common expenditures. This means villas and condos alike, as you found it in the mailing. These numbers are without community reserves. And when we are talking about budget, please keep in mind a budget is an estimation of revenue and expenses over a specific period of time, in our case 1 year. It is a microeconomic concept that shows educated estimations. Just because the budget shows a certain amount for a line item does not mean that we have or should spend the full amount. And of course, we strongly recommend, as the board does, to exhaust all avenues to reduce spending whilst meeting the obligation to keep up and to maintain our aging community. The age of Lexington Club is a major consideration in the budgeting process. Now, let us look at the different groups of our budget. Administrative expenses is our first group. Please keep in mind that numbers are based on actual numbers as per August this year, as well as projections through the end of the current year and also comparison to 2019. Again, administrative expenditures. Bank charges for this year, the projection is $108. Our budget was $500. So we thought we can reduce it to $200. Gas year to date, July is $424. In 2019, for the entire year, we spent $1,008. So we put $1,000 in. Hospitality is for official functions, water and coffee service in the clubhouse, meet and greet, and as I said, official functions. And we said that $1,500 would be good. This is flat to last year, or this year, I'm sorry. Then we have candidate background check. This is for candidates running for the board. The next line item is entertainment and Coffee Lex, highlighted in blue. This is a new item. Not recording expenses and revenue in official Lexington Club books were marked as a significant deficiency in last year's audit. Therefore, we introduced this line, and expenditures and revenue will zero out. The total administration we kept flat compared to current year's budget. The next group are office expenses. Castle printing and reproduction. This covers any legally required mailings that need to go to the entire community, like budget mailing, community documents, rules and regulations, or voting, coupon books, etc. Castle postage and mail. Well, that's the postage for all of the printing things that had to go out, which I mentioned in the line item Castle printing. And every letter, of course, that is sent to homeowners or vendors. Castle fees, this is the next line item. We incur additional charges for handling insufficient funds, initial collection letters, handling of late fees. These fees were not broken out previously. However, they should be monitored separately. Therefore, we introduced it as a new line item. Then we go down to supplies. This covers general office expenses like batteries, pencils, pens, paper, etc. Office equipment and IT. There is no major work expected or no purchases are expected, so we reduced it by $500. Educational expenses, we eliminated this amount completely. Uniform, this is also a new line item. That are the uniforms worn by employees with our Lexington Club logo. The expenditures were mixed in with other expenses, and therefore we isolated it to monitor the uniform purchase and printing. Just to give you an idea, it was $1,885.84. In total, for all office expenses, we have an increase of $4,600 compared to the current year budget. Now, let's look at communications and technology. Gmail, this is the board Gmail. The number is reduced from compared with this year. Then the old directory, you don't see a number there. There is no charge, no contract. The vendor said that he can cover the charges through advertisements. So we still will have the directory, just not paying for it. Newsletter, there is no contract. The fee stays flat and we will receive 9 issues per year. Robocall, we said $1,000. We built a minimal cushion to the actual amount of $971.89. Smart communities, channel 63, there is no increase. The exact amount is $163.08 monthly. Going down to Clubhouse, internet and music, the fee stays flat. And as you know, we have Sirius Radio in the Clubhouse. So in this group, we reduced the amount by $740 compared to the current year. Next is licenses, permits, fees, and taxes. The first line here is audit. The contract for next year is already signed, and as you know, we are legally required to perform an annual audit. So there's no going around with that. Then we have legal fees general, and this line covers everything associated with day-to-day operations exceeding basic questions that need further research. And the next one would be legal fees collection. We reduced this amount based on reclassifications and cleanup of significant delinquencies through our law firm. In 2019, just as a reminder, we had $23,292 in that as an expenditure. Legal fees pandemic. Well, as we will not get rid of this current pandemic quite soon, as everyone says, our attorney advised to have numbers separated and singled out in case there is a recovery opportunity. This means possible financial help by the government. Well, hopefully we don't have to do a lot in that, but we need to have a line item. Then member disputes, well, this is self-explanatory. New as a line item is the annual law firm retainer. This was mixed in previous years with legal general fees, and I think it distorted the expenditures in the legal general fees, so we extracted it and have a new line. Then coming down to licenses, fees, and permits, this includes Microsoft license, corporation filing fee, the Delray Alliance, Community Association Institute, but also the backflow certificate for 2 locations. Let's go down to bad debt. We kept the amount flat in this budget based on last year's actual number, which were significantly lower than originally budgeted. And we think this is mainly to the fact that we strictly enforce the collections process, meaning that accounts 60 days in arrears with homeowner fees or fines are handed to the lawyer, which prompts most homeowners to pay their dues. We all need to understand that those who do not pay and are in arrears live on the money of those who are current with their payments. And personally, I actually do not want to pay for someone else. Well, anyhow, so licenses, permits, fees, and taxes, we have a small increase in this category of $2,500 compared to the current year. When we look at the next group, that is management services. This includes the basic management contract's annual fee, including a 3% annual increase stipulated in the contract. The renewal date for this contract is May 1st. This also includes increased payroll for 7 employees, field people, and 1 housekeeping. The increased payroll is based on re-evaluating their performance and the market. As a piece of additional information, if I may, the burden is 25.25% for office employees and 35.75% for maintenance employees. And this is because they are more prone to workplace claims and therefore their workers' comp insurance is more expensive. So then we have cell phone property, the cell phone for the property manager, the assistant property manager, and the maintenance supervisor. And well, we are happy that we can reach them whenever they have to be reached. So we need to have the phones for them. Pandemic. Not knowing the course of the pandemic and the effect on us, financial experts strongly suggested that homeowner associations include an amount to cover additional personnel costs for increased sanitizing, access control, etc. Well, of course, we all hope that we don't need to spend any money here and can save $30,000. Nevertheless, any overtime has to be carefully monitored and tracked. The total increase in this category is $36,181.19. However, Without this unknown pandemic amount, the increase is $6,181. By the way, the increased health insurance, which also is factored in, went up $50 per person per month. Next big item is our insurance. Our policies are due for renewal in March of next year. The numbers you see are based on our broker's information, saying that so long in advance, he cannot go shopping for different quotes. So current year's budget shows a total of $500,246. However, the actual will be $513,000. This is due to the fact that we added cyber and legal defense insurance after the 2020 budget work was finished. Another factor of the premium increase is due to the fact that the insurance market is factoring in worldwide reinsurance market. That's the insurance for insurance companies that spreads the liability amongst carriers. This is going up significantly based on worldwide disasters. In this entire group, there is one new line item, which is called Insurance Financing, AFCO. For several years, Lexington Club is using AFCO to pay the insurance premiums. To have a purer look at the expenses, we isolated this amount. By the way, just as an additional piece of information, our property has an insured value of $90,835,200. Let's move on to contract services. We gathered all available contracts and reviewed them to understand annual stipulated increases. The first here is our copier lease contract. It was signed in 2017 and has a term of 48 months. It's up for renewal next year, and the fee stays flat. Copier service, we were able to reduce it $300. Postage machine, it's $100.58 quarterly. So it's, it is what it is. We need the postage machine to send out letters. Next is landscape maintenance contract. Seems to be a big amount. However, it includes 36 services of grass cutting and edging, 12 times trimming of bushes, 3 fertilizations of turf, 2 fertilizations of shrubs and trees per year. This also includes a contractual 3% increase. If you take the amount and calculate it, it's $43.79 per month per homeowner. So all in all, it's not bad. Tree trimming. This is another contract. It includes 2 trimmings of palm trees and 1 trimming of the hardwood. Irrigation. The irrigation maintenance contract includes the monthly wet check of all zones, and it has a 3% increase. Irrigation time clock. This is the fee for 2021 for 6 clocks, each $357. And it offers the Smart Link. This is the remote access fee that allows to dial in and set different zones. For instance, if a zone has a broken pipe, people can remotely dial in and shut this zone down. Next is clubhouse mats. We reduced from twice a month to once a month, and we have a 5-year contract that started in November 2018. By the way, during the pandemic, this contract was suspended to save some money. Then we have air conditioning maintenance contract. We have 2 quarters. I'm sorry. This includes a 3% up fee, just based on the contract. Pest control. The pest control includes spraying of ficus hedges, ficus trees, application against fire ants, household pest, then the lawn herbicide, lawn pest, spraying against fungus, perimeter, rodent, shrubs, rodent addendum. This rodent addendum is necessary due to construction activities close by so that we have a double bait and can catch all of the rats running around. And of course, we also have the lawn care applications. So this next is gate maintenance contract. All right. Yeah.
Lake and Fountain, Christine.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, let me just say the pest control, actually it's only $14.40 per home per month. So that's not too bad. Lake and Fountain, yes. This is $600 per month per lake and $525 quarterly per fountain. Then gate maintenance, there is no acceleration, and this is for the steel gate. Let's continue with the contract services. Alarm monitoring for all homes and the clubhouse. This includes the cellular adapters, which eliminate the need for a landline. It offers remote access through an app and offers the capability to add smart devices like remote cameras, thermostats, and locks. If you calculate it, it's $26.50 per home per month.
Christine,
Yes?
since we have so many residents on the phone, if anybody does not have the cellular adapter, you should call the alarm company and have them install it. They'll install it free of charge, and then you no longer need the landline for your alarm.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for adding that. All right, let's go to the next contract. That would be pool and spa. This covers 7 days a week testing and cleaning. During the pandemic and the pool closure, this contract was reduced. Next contract is fitness maintenance contract. This is just for preventative maintenance. The fire sprinkler, this covers the quarterly inspection mandatory by the fire marshal. The next thing is Envera. This is the access control program up the amounts for better understanding. The contract was signed in 2019 and there is no uplift for 5 years. This includes the database management, license plate recognition, resident lane access, the video monitoring, as well as the pedestrian lane access video monitoring, and service calls. The video monitoring and license plate recognition allows us to charge back repair costs to the offender causing damage to our gate. Then,
We're losing you.
community. I'm sorry. Well, can you hear me?
Yes.
Now I can.
Oh, thank you. Okay. So the total increase for this entire section for this category is $12,960, and this covers the 18 contract line items. The category of grounds. It helps to track landscaping costs that occur additionally to services covered under the general landscaping contract. And the numbers you see here were submitted by the landscape committee, and we are able to keep them flat compared to this year. By the way, the ground cover is mulch replenishment and plants, and the sod, this amount covers 30 pallets. You don't see a number at the tree and stump removal. This is combined with deceased palms. Once again, this group is flat compared to this year. Now let's look at repair, maintenance, and supplies. For each contract, we have a repair, maintenance, and supplies line to cover for spare parts, supplies, and additional items not covered by the original contract. These numbers are based on year-to-date expenses and the forecast till the end of 2020. And please keep in mind that our community is aging and needs a lot of attention. So the first line is landscape. There is a small increase, and it covers things like flowers planted by our own maintenance crew. Pest control, we looked at details in general ledgers, and year to date, September, we have $4,140 spent. So the projection will be close to $5,700. And we have to say this predominantly bee nests that have to be removed based on this year's experience. Irrigation, this year's budget was $23,000. However, so far year to date is $30,000. And despite doing a lot of repairs, the size of our community paired with its age demand a higher amount for next year. So we had to plan $35,000. Lake and fountain, major work was done this year, repairs, all floats and 3 motors were replaced, as well as digital timers installed. Therefore, we reduced the amount for next year and are at $2,500. Clubhouse, we reduced the amount by $2,500 so that we are now at $25,000. Gate maintenance, we reduced the amount despite the year-to-date amount of $6,679. That was mainly caused by gate strikes. For all repairs caused by vendors and or homeowners, Lexington Club should be reimbursed by those causing the damage. There is no reason why everyone has to pay for someone else's mistake, even when they are regretful having caused the damage. We just need to monitor our expenses. So yes, we should be reimbursed. First aid, in 2019, we spent $3,370. This year, the clubhouse is closed, and year-to-date September is $416. I wonder if we truly had so much need for first aid supplies in the clubhouse. Where did it go? Well, anyhow. Janitorial. Keeping everything clean and tidy costs some money, and we have a small increase to $7,500. Fitness, this is flat compared to this year. Recreational amenities, we thought that $1,500 would do it. This includes tennis courts, pickleball courts, and shuffleboard court. Hardscape, year to date, we have $650 spent on sidewalk repair, and we budgeted more than the actual projection would be for this year. So it's $1,500. We continue with repair, maintenance, and supplies. Office equipment, well, there's not a lot to say about. $400 a minimum. Plumbing common areas. This covers outside repairs like hose bibs, water supply lines, and we kept the amount flat. Air condition maintenance, that is parts replacement which are not part of the service contract, and we decreased it by $1,000. Lighting and electrical, this covers electricians who are called in for repairs. This also covers converting lighting in the clubhouse to LEDs, which last longer, and the full year projection would be $5,000. So we put in for next year $5,000. Utility vehicle, this is the upkeep for the daily used golf carts we have. We have 3 for the maintenance crew and 1 for use of office personnel. Fire protection, this is reduced because the contract for required fire alarm inspection is now in the contract category, which previously was put in here. So the amount that this line covers broken exit signs, lights for emergency exits, etc. Well, hurricane recovery expenses, of course not budgeted, but necessary to track expenditures in case of storm-related damages. We have pool and spa maintenance. This is for technicians who are called in for repairs because the contract only covers monitoring, testing, and adjusting of chemicals. And the number is based on year-to-date and projections. The grill, we reduced it compared to this year based on the fact that we had repairs done. Community paint, this is for patch-up jobs, for clubhouse, patio, pool, or curb repainting, all done by our own maintenance crew. Next is the tools and consumables. This covers all parts and tools not covered in other repair, maintenance, and supplies lines. And this is also what our own maintenance team needs. For instance, light fixture replacements on homes, extensions of downspouts, fixing walkway pavers or driveway pavers. So in total, we have a $4,850 increase for repair, maintenance, and supplies. Then let's move on to utilities. Based on current year's numbers and a projection with an uplift of 3% suggested by Castle, we put in the $72,100. Well, the year-to-date expenditure and including the projection would be less. However, we had to consider that the clubhouse was closed, and so we are in line with last year's expenditures. Water and sewer, this is based on current year's numbers and the projection with a 3% uplift. By the way, we have 114 individual water meters. That means 114 different bills, plus a separate recycled water bill. The next line is cable TV for condos and villas. This is based on the current bills and a 5% contractual uplift. The contract renewal is November 2021, and the Board of Directors is exploring all possibilities to be moving forward with a new provider. Next, trash removal. This is just based on the latest rates. Phone and internet for clubhouse and guardhouse. Well, for the guardhouse, we certainly need the internet for the Envera system. And again, the number is based on current invoices and projection. There is no uplift based on 36-month contract, which was signed in June 2018. Next, contingency. Well, contingency is a provision for unforeseen circumstances. The amount is low because we believe to have everything else already covered in other categories. New is the pandemic expense non-personnel. It also goes back to our attorney advising us to have it
Christine, can you repeat that? You fell off.
Let me jump in here on that for a quick second. The total contingency versus last year versus this year is still the same $10,000. What we've done is we've broken it up between what do you want to call normal contingency is $5,000, and then just to create a line in case we have a need to use the money towards pandemic and maybe get reimbursed somehow. We broke it up from one line to two lines, but it's still the same total, $10,000.
Yes.
Continue, Christine.
Thank you. So let's go back to this one page we showed before. This is again a summary of all common expenses, condos and villas alike. It is $2,855,259.63 without reserves. Well, let us look at the reserve contributions now. And talk about community reserves and the community reserve fund. As per definition, a reserve fund is a special account set aside to meet any future financial obligations of scheduled upgrades and or replacements of commonly owned property in a homeowner association. A reserve fund is a savings account or other highly liquid asset set aside to meet any future costs or financial obligations, especially those arising unexpectedly. The Board of Directors decided last year to use the pooled reserve fund or cash flow method. As you see, we have different items in this category, actually 53 different components in the reserve category. And the money is proportionally allocated to each component based on life expectancy and replacement costs. We may borrow from any component for another item. However, we must replenish. So that's a little bit of a reality check. This is where we are. Our community reserve fund is low. We all are aware that for many, many years, homeowners chose to vote for partially funded statutory reserves and to not choose fully funded statutory reserves. Only the last few years, we started to increase the partially funded community reserve amounts to meet our minimum needs. Let me maybe remind you, in 2016, it only was $59,674 that went into the community reserve fund. Then in 2018, it was $81,181. Increased last year to $86,191. This year, we are setting aside $150,000, and for next year, $170,000. The small star shows last year's situation. The larger star shows the current situation. So we are slowly on the right path. Continuing the path in the right direction, the 2021 budgeted partially funded community, this is common reserves, $170,000. Adding that to the total of all common expenditures, which is $2,855,759.63, gives us a grand total of $3,025,759.63 partially funded common reserves, which is $1,742.95 quarterly for each homeowner, condos and villas alike. When you look to the right column, that are the numbers for fully funded common reserves for each homeowner. If we want to fully fund the reserves next year, we had to set aside $1,656,026.16. That would give us a grand total of $4,511,785.79. And when you look at the bottom line, with partially funded reserves, we have $1,742.95 quarterly per unit. Common community expenditures plus reserves. If we would fully fund it, this amount would be $2,598.95 per unit per quarter. So, as I mentioned before in the beginning, condos and villas have their own budgets covering their specific needs. Villa owners do not have their own board of directors. Therefore, the community association board assumes responsibility for the villa's business and problems. So let's now look at villa-only expenditures. Villa bad debt, that are write-offs after foreclosures and back settlements. We were reducing this amount since no expense until August 2020. In 2019, the entire year, we had to spend $8,821.50. So the amount we put in for next year is $10,000. The villa reserves. that's a minimum to build up partially funded villa reserves. We increase the contribution based on the reserve study's demand to increase, but not to overwhelm us homeowners. So the contribution we are putting in is $219,320 for 2021. That amounts to $195 per villa owner per quarter. That amount added to the quarterly community maintenance fee results in the total of $1,937.95 for every single villa. Let's look at the summary now. The villas are on the left, the condos are on the right. Common expenditures are $1,742.95 for villas as well condos. Then we add the specific expenditures for villas, $195 per quarter, for condos, $429 per quarter. So the total quarterly maintenance fee, partially funded reserves, is for villas $1,937.95. For condos, partially funded common reserves, it would be $2,171.95 quarterly per condo. Just as comparison, fully funded, we would look at a total of $2,793.95 for fully funded common reserves for the villas quarterly, and for the condos, the amount would be $3,027.95 quarterly for fully funded common reserves. On a personal note, I do not like the increase in next year's quarterly maintenance fee. However, given that our community is 30 years old and has a very generous size, I know we have to maintain it professionally to keep up our home values, not deteriorating by neglect. So I encourage all of you, if you are not happy with the situation or how things are done, please talk to the board and our management company, and please help to find the best solution for the entire community in a positive way, without ulterior motives or animosity. After all, we are in this together. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Christine.
You're welcome.
I'll turn it back over to Paul.
Okay.
Hey, Paul, you're
Can you
muted.
guys hear me okay? Sorry about that. Thank you for the detailed presentation. It's always very, very helpful. We appreciate it. At this point, I'm just pulling up the agenda real quick. We will ask for the count and membership vote specifically to either waive for partial funding of reserves or to have full funding. So Roy, do you have the detail on that to share?
Yes, I do. Thank you. Thank you very much, Christine, for that presentation. That was really an excellent presentation. Thank you to you and to Dan also for all the time you spent on this budget. And we appreciate that very much.
You're welcome.
As far as the vote of the membership, we have, as you know, 434 units. We need half plus one, which is 218 yes votes to pass partial funding. We received 337 yes votes and 3 no votes. So partial funding of the reserve passes.
Perfect. That's actually the last item on the agenda of the membership meeting. So I'll ask for a resident to chime in for adjournment of that meeting, and then we'll go into the budget and the budget meeting specifically for the board. So
I move that we end this portion of the meeting.
Okay. So it's 7:55 p.m. We will adjourn the special member meeting. What we will do, though, is we will jump right into the next meeting, which is officially the board meeting or budget meeting, which is a board meeting. So I will ask, do you want me to just continue, John?
Yes. Go ahead. Just go ahead.
Okay. We're just going to ask for a call. We're going to call the meeting to order and just do a quick roll call vote of the board. So if you can just quickly say your name if you're here from the board of directors for the record.
John Steinman.
Bernie Schick.
Joel Schleifer.
Wexler.
Okay. So we do have a quorum. We have 4 of 4. Same thing as with the last meeting, proof of notice. It actually went up simultaneously. So the same proof of notice that we have for the special member meeting, we noticed the budget meeting at the same time. I'm going to ask if there's meeting or disposal of any previous unapproved meeting minutes. We could have those either read into the minutes, skipped, or if we don't have any, we can move to the next item if there are no meeting minutes.
I furnished minutes for the last 4 meetings.
Okay.
I sent them to the property manager as well as all the board members. You've all received them. So I will entertain a motion to accept those minutes.
So motion.
A second.
Perfect. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Perfect.
Aye.
Okay, no objection. Motion carries. And the main event is the budget consideration and adoption of the 2021 budget. So I'll ask for a motion from the board to accept the budget as proposed with, as we already know, the partially funded reserves as your membership wishes. If I can have a motion from a board member on that.
I make a motion to accept the 2021 budget as presented to include the partially funded reserves.
Okay, is there a second to that?
Second.
Bernie was first. I'm going to take him.
Okay.
I saw his hand.
It's
Sorry,
fine,
John.
fine with me.
And now that there's a first and a second, is there any further discussion amongst the board? And if not, we can move to or call the question.
I make a motion, or I call the question.
Okay, so we'll move to vote. We can have a vote for yes to pass the budget as proposed with reserves, with partially funding reserves. Yes, votes.
Call the vote by name.
Okay, John.
John, I vote yes.
Don Wexler.
Yes.
Yes. Joel
Yes.
and Bernie.
Vote yes.
Okay. So the motion carries 4-0. And that is it in a nutshell. So I will ask for a board member to make a motion to adjourn the board meeting.
Before we do, could we look at addressing some of the questions in the chat?
That's up to the board for sure. We can what we've done at some other meetings is we have printed, because it can be long. So what we've done in the past is we've printed the minutes, printed those or made record of it, and then we address them in an email to the community. That way we get as many of those answered as possible. Is that what you'd like to do, or how would you like to handle that?
Paul, what has happened? Joel, you're prepared to go through a list of questions. I believe there's
Usually some of the questions tend to repeat themselves, but there's some really big areas. Plus there's been quite a few emails over the last couple of weeks addressing a lot of the issues in the budget. So I'm going to try to deal with some of the issues that have been raised. I just want to get my copy of the budget in front of me here. Here we go. This way I can have the 2020 budget amounts and this year's budget amounts in the same place at the same time, and that'll make me a little bit more. My answers will be a little bit more cogent. So the 800-pound gorilla in the room when it comes to this year's budget is insurance. It went from about 500,246 last year was the budgeted amount. This year we're budgeting $628,829. Now, inside that 628, there's about $14,000 of interest because we pay out the premium over the year, and there's like $1,000 a month interest charge on those premium amounts, which we never budgeted before. But I felt that, you know, come on, it's a real number. It's in there. The auditors, when they issue their statements, they pick it up. So we're only fooling ourselves if we don't budget for it. So if you wanted to go apples to apples and take out the 14, you went from 500,000 to 614. And the reason for that is we spoke with the broker. He's been pricing it. He went to a bunch of different carriers, and, you know, given what's going on with hurricanes and hitting Florida, hitting the Gulf, the insane fire situation in California, he's saying we should budget for at least 20% increase in our premium, minimum. So we took that advice to heart. Personally, I think it may be more, but for now, we'll go with the 20%. And that's half of our 9%. Our budget increased in total 9%, half of which is just the insurance alone. So, I mean, that's just the way it is. And it's not a cost that we can duck. It's not a cost we can hide from. It's going to go up. It's going to be bad. And we would just be fooling ourselves if we didn't anticipate at least a 20% increase in premiums. So that's where that comes from. Some people talked about the ADT, the alarm, the smoke and fire, the CO2. Well, it's part of your maintenance. It's got central station monitoring. If you realize, I'll talk about the CO2 first. There are some people in the community that know it's touched them personally. What happens when you don't have CO2 monitoring? We've actually had a death in the community because of carbon monoxide poisoning. So you need, you know, just that alone would have saved a life with the central station monitoring. Then when you take into effect the fact that even the villas are attached units, every unit's attached, whether it's a condo or a villa, it's either 2 or 4 to a building. If there's a serious fire and it catches the roof on fire, well, it's going to catch both roofs on fire because that's just the way it is. The firewall only protects from one side to the other, but if the roof goes, both roofs are going to go. So you're going to want to have monitoring, because if you have central station monitoring and a unit catches fire, it'll enable the fire and rescue folks to get to us quicker and maybe save the second or the other 3 units, depending on whether it's a condo or a villa. So it's kind of a necessary thing.
And you don't need a landline.
What?
And you don't need a landline for the...
Right, now you don't even need a landline anymore. So it's very important to protect each other, not just ourselves. Pest control is another one of those things where we're protecting each other, not just ourselves. Given the fact that we're all attached, if one unit owner decides that they're going to go with pest control and the other unit owner decides they're not going to go with pest control, well, it's going to be pretty hard to control the pests traveling back and forth from one unit to the other. So if we have uniform pest control, both outside and inside, it's going to help us. I mean, you know, let's face it, folks, we live in Florida. There's no way around it. I mean, what we're living on now used to be swampland. So there's going to be pests. It's going to have to be controlled. We're in a semi-tropical environment. There's no getting around that. And it's just going to be, it's a reality of life, reality of Florida life. Some people are objecting to the $30,000 of pandemic expenses. I get that, but my position is if I'm going to err, I'd rather err on the side of caution. If we don't end up spending the money, the worst that happens is that if we end up with a surplus at the end of 2021, that surplus goes into our reserves, which certainly are underfunded. So even if we lose, we end up winning. That's the way I look at it. The landscaping issues, they're just what they are. Christine alluded to it. This is an older community. If we want to keep the curb appeal and we want to keep the place looking modern and well maintained, well, it's not for free. Now there's a bunch of reserves. I'm going to try and go through them quickly. One is it's technically not a reserve, but it's called the Capital Improvement Fund. That was invented a few years back. Whenever there's a sale, a new owner, I call it from a different term of art from my previous life when I used to handle a lot of co-ops. I call it a moving tax. What it is a new owner pays $1,500 coming in, and that goes into what's called the Capital Improvement Fund. Then we have what's called the Community Reserve Fund. We have a Villa Reserve Fund, and then we have a Condo Reserve Fund. I'm not going to speak too much to the Condo Reserve Fund because obviously I'm not on the condo board. The Villa Reserve Fund basically exists to cover the villa's roofs. And the Community Reserve Fund exists to cover all of the common property that both the condo owners and the villa owners use. The pools, the clubhouse, the roads, the sidewalks, the street lights, all the stuff that when we're walking around that will eventually need to be replaced. Now, under law, you're required to have what's called a reserve study. And what that does is it goes to all of the different components of your physical plant and estimates remaining useful lives on each one of those components, as well as replacement value of those components at the time that the study is done. And you come up with a number. And that's how they came up with the $3 million and change number. Fully funded is a term of art. Basically, what you say is if I wanted to put enough money away today, given an assumed rate of return on my investments in my reserve fund, this is the number I would need to put in. That's how we came up with that $3 million number for fully funded reserves. But the reserve study also gives you incremental amounts that you could put in each year, assuming that your fund was fully funded, say in year 4 or year 5 on January 1st, you would have to put X number of dollars into the fund to be in what's called, quote unquote, a fully funded state the following December 31st. This year, the incremental amount was $170,000. But understand, we weren't fully funded on January 1st, and we won't be fully funded on January 1st. So really all we're doing is just pouring a little bit of money into the bucket. We're not filling the bucket. Also, since fully funded is a term of art, one should understand that mathematically it's impossible to ever reach a state of 100% funding due to the fact that you do draw down, you do take money out of the reserve fund as you're going along, and you may or may not reach your investment goals on the funds that are invested in the reserve fund. But it's a term of art, and we try. You have a choice. This community tonight chose to go the partially funded reserve option. There's no right way or wrong way with this. It's just a way of handling the reserve fund going forward. I hope that, I know that's very crazy concepts to understand. You know, it took me about a week to figure it out myself. But that's what it is. So, and that's how we came up with the 170, by the way. That's the 2021 incremental amount based on the reserve study. And I guess that's really it for me.
Okay. Bernie, did you have anything? Did you want to, Bernie, could you read some of the chats?
Yeah, I've been looking through them. There's a big one here about the bait stations, and someone is saying that the bait stations are never filled. The bait stations are refilled every month. We actually went through a period where the bait stations were refilled twice a month, so we could do a study as to how much was being consumed to see if we needed to refill the bait stations more often than once a month. We do get a report every month now as to how many baits were required to refill the bait stations to see if the rat population is growing or decreasing. It seems like the treating it for twice a month for the 3 months considerably reduced the rat population based on how much bait they were eating. And as of right now, it seems like it seems to be holding at a much lower number than it used to be. You will never completely get rid of rats. If you want to get rid of our extermination rat, I think it's called Hometown, you'll have a rat-infested community. So you might want to think twice before you get rid of the bait stations. Thank you.
Yeah, on the rat part, Bernie, some people are saying the bait stations are never checked, and they know, they looked at them. You have to have a key to open the bait trap, and it's very small bait, and I wouldn't recommend anybody touching it because it's an anticoagulant, so it could be very dangerous to humans.
Yeah, I also want to touch on insurance for a second. Some people are saying we should look for another insurance company. This was mentioned by Christine before. Our insurance agent actually looked at about 20 different insurance companies. I don't know what the number was, but quite a number of them weren't interested in issuing insurance for this community for whatever reasons they were. And we wound up with about 4 different insurance companies that made a bid. Commercial insurance is very different from homeowners insurance. I have homeowners insurance here, as all of you do, but looking at the commercial insurance is totally different. And I don't know how many people are aware, but the hurricanes that are hitting the East Coast are on the rise. They're more frequent. We've had an incredible season here, setting all kinds of records. And if you think a 20% increase in our insurance over last year is a lot, I've already been informed by a number of brokers that I speak to who are in this business. Wait until you see what happens next year after they start paying for all the claims. It's not just here on the East Coast. Let's face it, Louisiana got hit with 4 or 5 storms this year. Insurance companies are being squeezed and squeezed and squeezed, and they're going to have to turn to higher premiums so they can pay out the claims. So we're not just running away here and just spending our money frivolously on insurance. It's something we have to have. You heard the number. We insure the community for $90 million. And unfortunately, we are at the mercy of the insurance companies. I don't know how many people get a reduction in their automobile insurance every year. I don't. And I shop around. So it's just sad. I wish we could cut that insurance cost. We could lower the value. We could lower the replacement value of the homes. But then what happens if we get destroyed? We wouldn't have enough money to rebuild our community. I want to.
I would just like.
Go ahead, Joel.
I just want to address one other issue. Another issue that's been floating around for the last few weeks or so. I sent out an email to the community explaining the budget. And one of the things I did mention in that email is that due to the fact that I am the treasurer, I am privy to certain castle management work products and some of their management tools. And one of them is a management tool that they use to track savings that they're able to attain when they're dealing with the various vendors that Lexington Club deals with. And I received that Excel spreadsheet. And I did mention the number was $49,000. What I did not mention, and I guess I should have, I mean, 20/20 hindsight is always perfect, that's a castle management work product. It's not a Lexington Club document. And I fail that I guess Paul could speak to it more than me, but I felt that it's not something that could or should be released generally. So I don't know if you want to go into that a little bit more, Paul. That's up to you.
If you need me to, it's one of the things that we track at all of our sites just to kind of gauge where we're being efficient and effective from a pricing standpoint. On some sites, we're able to save so much that we say we're able to cover whether it's a half a salary, a management fee. It's a nice way to be able to show savings. I mean, it's a value add. We try to bring value every day. We try to do the right thing and a good job, and that's just one of the tools that we use. So we have various things that we do. That's one of them for sure.
Can you give us a better description of what that savings actually is? I mean, what is it? What are the actual savings on?
And I'll be honest, I don't have yours in front of me. I don't see it, but it's an example is if you negotiate a contract, and we're helping negotiate a contract, you might, and just an example, maybe you're getting something for $1,000 and you agree to $1,000. $1,000 is great. And Roy is able to go to the vendor and say, you know what, they're ready to sign. Can you do it for $950? You agreed to $1,000. Everyone's okay with $1,000. If we're able to get it for $950, we're going to get it for $950 for you, and we'll put that down. And it sounds like nothing, but if it's $50 here and $100 there and $1,000 there, before you know it, it adds to a very good saving. So some people say it's petty, and we show 50,000 or 100,000. A board might come back and say, you know what, we think it's only 80 or it's only 20. We still say, well, that's great. Then we still save you $20,000. So that's the use. We like to show you where we can bring value.
And one thing to understand is that it's the current year. It's not part of the budget to forecast for the next year because it goes to zero the next year and you start over. But
correct.
It really play into the 2021 budget.
Also, I'm kind of leery about releasing too much detail, especially in terms of vendor names and specific amounts versus those vendors, because if that was to ever get out and the vendors ever find out about it, it might. I'm not saying it will, but it might. Put us at a disadvantage in the future when we're dealing with those vendors. To me, it's confidential, proprietary information, and as such, it's something that it's a tool, but that's really what it is. It's a tool. It's not a document that needs to be disseminated across the whole planet.
Since we're all, the condos and the villas are together, Amy Steiger, you had your hand raised, and as a courtesy to the condo board, can you come online?
You have to unmute her.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we can now.
So I just wanted to kind of chime in of how Castle has helped with the condominiums in many of our contracts, where we've had a vendor, a roofer coming in and saying that there was a proposal for a certain amount of money. And I would look at it with Roy or with Stephen Smith, and I can't name and I can't specify the number of occasions, but I will say that they have assisted in many, 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 many times over the course of the years that Castle has been here, and Roy and Stephen as well, that they have reduced the vendor. They were able to negotiate with the vendor to get a reduced amount that the condos had to pay for a repair. So I just wanted to chime in with that, since you were talking about Paul. They were talking about the $49,000 in savings. So I just wanted to chime in on that, and that they have certainly saved the condos money, and I'm certain that they saved the community money as well.
Thank you. Thank you. Um,
I would like to comment on something, please.
sure.
There's a chat in here from a gentleman by the name of Ronald Van Gyn. I'm not sure how you pronounce your last name. I apologize if I probably mispronounced it. And he's saying here that we should be able to save 50% on the internet and TV package with Comcast when the agreement expires. The current agreement expires November 30th of 2021. That's a little over a year from now. I have been in the process of negotiating with Comcast, who really couldn't care less about our community. We currently have mostly copper in the ground to the homes. They will not even consider putting fiber in the ground to the homes, and they want to raise our rates. So if you could send me information as to where you heard that Comcast is willing to reduce cost by 50%, I would love to hear from you. Thanks.
Okay, if there's nothing further, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Who seconded it? Excuse me, who seconded
I
it?
thought you did. I made
Okay.
a motion to adjourn.
Oh, you made the motion? Okay, fine, perfect. Uh,
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
And Paul, thank you very much. And Roy, for the evening.
Thank you. We appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Look forward to the next major event. Should be coming up soon.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you very
And
much.
want to especially thank everyone that attended this evening. It's good to see this many people come in, and we're all pleased with the vote. And hope everyone has a great weekend.
And
Thank you. Thank you.
Be safe.
Already a very special thank you to Christine and Dan Gasser, Christine here for the preparation of the budget. Hours and hours and hours, weeks of effort went into that for the good of all. Thanks.
And the thing that you don't really see are those hours and hours and all the pieces of paper and how they go through everything. Thank you both very much. Appreciate it.